people loved us, and it was one of the few occasions where we actually made people sing here.
Not many teams, Bobby, are on for the treble. I mean, Man United went close last year, but back in 80-81, Ipswich Town were ever so close.
Yes, we did, and we didn't perhaps have the large stuff that Manchester United had last year. So we were working on a smaller group of players, so it was perhaps a bit more taxing. But we had a very good team. A lot of individual technique and skill within all the players, and I think the answer was that we found a system to suit every single player in the squad or in the team, and developed it well. It was a great unit, good infiltration between the players, good integration between the players. Teamwork, was well understood by everybody. Everybody knew their job and had the character and the attitude.
You were at Portman Road for some years before 81, of course. Is that the kind of success that takes a lot of years to build up?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think success comes easily overnight. It took us a while. I mean, I was at Ipswich a long time, and I probably built 4 different teams, and 4 successful teams, if you like. But the 81 side, in my opinion, was the best side. And it was the maturing of some of our homespun players. We bought well with Mariner, and the 2 Dutch boys were excellent buys, Muren and Tyson. And the development of Gates and Walk and Burley and Beattie. We bought well in Hunter, our centre half. Cooper was, our goalkeeper, was underestimated. Very cheap purchase, I think £23,000. So we bought well, never made a mistake, and had this youth policy which paid dividends.
When it comes to winning cup competitions, a lot of clubs feel that perhaps their name is written on the trophy before it all starts. In the UEFA Cup, you kicked off against Salonika. Did you have any feelings towards the eventual winning of the trophy at that stage?
Oh, I never thought we'd get to the end. I mean, it was a round-by-round situation. Knockout football, one game at a time. Salonika were easy at home, 5-1, I think. John Walk got 4 goals, 2 penalties. But away from home, we were on a dicey wicket for some part of the game. We were losing 3-0. So we're now we're winning 5-4. And if Salonika score the next goal, it's 5-5, and we actually lose on the away goal. Fortunately, Gates got us a sharp goal, midway through the second half, which put us 3-1 down, but in a nice position in terms of the aggregate. So we had a comfortable margin in the first round, in the first game at home, but just got through.
You mentioned John Walk scoring 4 goals in that first game. He's still there at Ipswich Town. He's been a great servant for the club. Was that one of his best games for the club?
John Walk was a fabulous player, great player. Great player, box-to-box player, got goals every season, guaranteed, good strong shot, come in late on situations with well-timed runs, brave in the air on headers, worked very hard in midfield because he was a defensive midfield player as well. But he scored all these wonderful goals, coming in on late runs with Gates and Muren and Tyson. And like I'm saying, the system suited him. We knew what he could do, and we had to get the ball in certain situations in wide positions and get crosses in for John to come on late runs in front of Eric Gates and in between Mara and Brazil and score goals.
They'd won the first game against Salonika. Round 2, Bohemians. What were your thoughts before that game?
Well, I'd been to see them play, and I like the Czechs. I think they're good footballers, tough, durable, good technique. We won 3-0 at home. We were 2 up with about 5 minutes to go and got a free kick. And I made a tactical change. I brought on Beattie immediately. He was very strong, had this powerful left foot. We got a free kick just outside the box. And Beattie rammed it home, which gave us a 3-0 result. That goal actually got us through because we lost the away tie in Prague. Very difficult conditions, absolutely freezing, minus 4 degrees. And we lost 2-0, but on aggregate we got through 3-2. So again, it was close.
Kevin Beattie, a man who's part of the Ipswich Town folklore. Do you feel a lot of the players from that team are very much part of the folklore of the club?
Oh yeah, I mean, its history. Great love and great depth of feeling, I think, by the public here for those players. Because we played a sort of football, I think, that perhaps hadn't been seen here for many, 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 many years. And not only just in Ipswich, but I think in England. You know, in my opinion, we were the best team in England. And played lovely football, effective football. Not just passed the ball well, but got in where it hurt. Crossed balls at the right time, got in killer positions, finished well. And we had goal scorers in the team, not just one. We had several people who could score. Brazil could score, Mariner could score, Walker could score, Gates could score, Muren could score. Tyson chipped in now and again. Then we had the set plays, you know. People loved us. And it was one of the few occasions where we actually made people sing here.
So you were through to round 3, and next was the Polish team, Lodz.
Yes.
You feeling more confident at this stage?
Well, we're feeling more comfortable, but in the previous round, they knocked out Manchester United. And I spoke to Dave Sexton about them, and, you know, he warned me, and they'd had 2 tough games, 2 narrow results, but lost. So, you know, they come to us, and I think they underestimated us. Because I remember stupid conversations with the coach before the match who actually wanted to bet me with money on the result. I said, in English pounds? He said, no, Polish. I said, no, I don't take Polish money. But he actually wanted to have a bet. The first time ever in my life, a coach from the opposition has actually wanted to have a money bet on a result. And I couldn't believe it. And I think he thought, you know, they'd beaten Manchester United. They will demolish Ipswich. We beat them 5-1 or 5-0. 5-0. Actually beat them 5-0. And knocked them out of sight. Dave Sexton couldn't believe our result. And it was just a night when we were very determined. You know, we knew we had to play well at home. Going into Poland was going to be difficult. And I remember saying to the boys, you know, this is the time which might get us round. We can lose in Poland. Difficult conditions. I know it's going to be cold. And it's difficult in Poland. The food's not very good. The hotels are not so good. You know, and we've got to build up a commanding lead. And we went out and smashed them into smithereens. And I remember sort of passing the coach and thinking, well, blow your money. So it was a very rewarding night for me and a great performance by the team. You can't lose a European Cup tie away from home unless you are absolutely dreadful, 6-0. So in a sense, we were through. But the conditions there were, like I said, it was now minus 14 degrees. We actually played on ice and snow. And I remember the UEFA representative saying, look, the ground is unplayable. In my position and in my decision is the ground is unplayable. But if you don't play tonight, you have to come back in March. And this was a December game. And I said, and with 5 goals in the bank, I said, no, we'll play. We lost 1-0. But it was a game where you couldn't get your footing. You couldn't play football. It was an up and under game, you know. But we had good defenders and safely got through.
After the 5-0 game, were you richer that night? Did you take the bet?
No, I didn't take the bet. No, he antagonised me a little bit. I just couldn't understand why a coach would want to bet money on a game like that, you know.
And in the quarter-final, a glamour tie against St Etienne. By now, you must be getting more confident.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really want St Etienne in the quarterfinals, the last day, but our players did. And I remember little Larry Gates said, "Boss," he said, "if we beat them, we don't have to beat them in the final." Which was a positive way of looking at things, you know. I went to see them play. They semi-frightened me. Platini, Larios, Jovion, Battiston, Ruschator, fabulous French players. And they came and saw us play, and every time they came to see us play, we played well and had good victories, 4-1, 4-0 and so forth. I think the coach went back and a little bit frightened of us. We went to St Etienne, 48,000, gates closed 2 hours before the kick-off. They've never lost at home in a European Championship for years, 26 years I think. They scored first, we were 1-0 down. But we had the character, the resilience, and we probably give, it's arguably the best, but it is one of the best English performances away in Europe of all times. Of that there is no doubt, because we beat a very good team with class players. We won 4-1 away from home in St Etienne. We returned cock-a-hoop in great spirits, high hopes. very determined about the second leg, 1-3-1. So we knocked St Etienne out of the quarterfinals of the UEFA Cup, 7-2. Now 7-2 at that level in the last 8 is some score, and you have to have a bit of a dishy team to get that sort of result. And it was a measure of the quality of the players.
As you say, you'd beaten them in both rounds, home and away, and you did the same again in the semi-final against FC Cologne.
Well, then we drew the German team, FC Cologne, and when German football is tough and difficult to beat, and they don't give anything away, they defend well. And by this time, it's getting towards the end of our season, and we're on a short crop of players, if you like, and 1 or 2 little injuries occurring, and a little bit of tiredness coming in because we were successful in Europe and doing well in the league, doing well in the FA Cup, and I knew there was going to be a bit of a mountain to climb. It was a tough game at home. We won 1-0, not very much in it. We were slightly better than they were, but I knew we had an awful lot to do in the second leg. And the second leg was at Easter, around about the Easter period. And I remember we played on the Saturday, we played on the Easter Monday against Norwich, and we actually went to Cologne immediately after that game to play on the Wednesday. So it was our 3rd game in 5 days. I mean, can you believe that? Playing the semi-final of a UEFA Cup in April, 3rd game in 5 days, and defending a 1-0 lead. Not much to play about, no cushion. Couldn't take any risks, and the players by this time, were feeling it. It was their 3rd game, and we didn't train the day of the match. In fact, we went to an amusement park. I remember it well, just to lift spirits and let the players enjoy it and forget about football until 2 hours before the kick-off, and it worked wonders. I remember lads riding on helter-skelters and down the water chutes and just thoroughly and acting like kids, and laughing, and Brazil and Gates and people like that. I mean, they had a whale of a time. Spirit was high, Came to the game 2 hours before the game, deep concentration, knuckle down to the job. Do this, you have to remember this, And so we went through the drills, went through the ploys, went through the little tactical situations, went through, what we felt we had to do and so forth. And we won 1-0 in Germany. They hadn't played for 2 weeks, and they were laughing at us. They were fresh, hadn't committed themselves to any strenuous work. They knew this was our 3rd game in 5 days, and they thought they would walk all over us. But the toughness and the resilience and the attitude of the team, the character, the need, the desire to win was there, and we won 1-0. So we beat Cologne 2-0 on aggregate.
In between those 2 games, you had an FA Cup semi-final against Man City. A great achievement we've got so far, but I think the real highlight in the FA Cup was against Nottingham Forest.
We played St Etienne in a UEFA Cup on the Wednesday night, travelled up to Nottingham Forest to play an away game. We played marvellous. We were 2 up and going like a dream. We found ourselves 3-0 down during the game after being in a 2-0 lead, so we're now 3-2 down on the result. Tyson got a late equaliser, so we came out of Nottingham 3-3. We played at Coventry on the Saturday before, so that week we scored 4 goals away at Coventry, 4 goals in Etienne away, 3 goals in Nottingham Forest away. So we scored 11 goals in 3 games, all away from home. Now that's a measure of the team. That is the quality of the football that we could play. 11 goals in 3 games, all away from home. Won a 6th round FA Cup tie, won 8th quarter-final of the UEFA Cup, and Coventry City away. Safely negotiated the replay, although it was tight, and beat Brian Clough's team 1-0 at home on the Tuesday night, and then got to the semi-final. And here we were very unlucky, because for the first time in the history of this Association Cup, extra time was to be played on this occasion. It was 0-0 at full time. Kevin Beattie, our great player, had broken an arm, so we were without him. Brian Hamilton had an injury. We were playing virtually down with 9.5 men. It had to go in extra time. By this time, we were very tired. The players were very tired after all these matches. Had we could have been able to come out of that game 0-0 and play the replay 3 days later, which was the norm at that time, I think we might have survived. But we had to play 30 minutes extra on top of all the other games that we played. And Paul Power scored a decisive goal from a free kick, and tragically we lost 1-0.
Short of changing the fixture list, is there anything that you could have done as a manager to have ensured that Ipswich Town could have won more than UEFA Cup?
No, I don't think there was anything more that we could have done. I maybe would have liked to have had a larger squad of top players as opposed to, maybe 14 or 15 with some good reserves. We wanted a top squad of 18, then you can survive. These games can come and you can play them, you can change your team, you can keep the results coming and nothing else happens to you. But when you're relying on the same team or virtually the same team all the time, day after day, match after match, the events hit you, hard and deep, and we just couldn't rest our key players. If you rest your key players, you weaken your side and you might lose. So it was a never-ending grind.
At the same time, of course, you're still motoring on in the league. You could have been the First Division champions. Did there come a point where you had to choose between the UEFA Cup and the First Division, or was it just a case of keeping going as far as you could?
You can't do that because they're both very important. You can't say, well, look, we'll give up the European Cup to win the league, because you might not win the league. And you can't say, well, we'll give up the Championship to win the UEFA Cup, because you might not win the UEFA Cup either, You've just got to fire both barrels and keep firing. Nothing you can do. Just hope that the players, have the resilience, like I'm saying, the character. We can keep everybody fit. We don't get injuries. We can keep fresh as we can. Training was cleverly planned to try and give the players fresh legs whenever we had to come up with the big games. Although by this time, every game was vital. Because a league game now was 2 points, and that 2 points would either secure you the championship or it would lose you the championship. No relief. So it's just a hard slog.
So having got to the end of the season, you were in danger of not winning anything at all, but you came to the final against AZ 67. Did you feel like you had a lot of energy left, or was it just a psychological edge of having to win something?
Yeah, it was the psychological edge of having to win something. Players, knew they'd played well, knew that they were the best team in England, were very conscious to win something, were very, had great mental force and desire to finish the season off. And this one wasn't going to elude us. We just lost the league. We were so unlucky in the FA Cup. And this was the last one. We played our best team. We know everybody was fit. Went into it in the first leg at home. I would have preferred it the other way around, but you can't have everything in life. So we simply had to go for it. We felt we played more games than AZ Alkmaar. Therefore, perhaps we thought we might be a bit more tired. The second game would be a bit weary. So we actually went for it. We put everything into that first game at home. We had to try and get this commanding league so that if in the second leg we had 1 or 2 injuries, or we had to change the team, or we were tired, maybe we could conserve our energy and play safety first, defensive football and get it through. But to do that, you have to win 3-0 or something like that. We simply went, just like I'm saying, we simply went for it. And we played magically on the night. We won 3-0. And we had the cushion that we thought, would see us safely through. Played exceptionally good football in front of a packed house and an enthusiastic public who were willing us on. We had 2 teams in the stadium that night, 1 on the pitch, 1 in the stands. And the Ipswich supporters rallied round the team. We had singing, they used to sing, Arnie, Arnie. This was Arnold Muren. And Arnie would roll the ball and bring it back and cross past the ball. And it was sweet. We gave a sweet performance. I think we surprised AZ Alkmaar. They must have known that we were a good side, but they came here very confident, thinking they could get a little 0-0, maybe 1-0 defeat. But we thrashed them 3-0.
At the end of a great season like that, it would have been very hard to take not to win a trophy at all, but you won the first leg 3-0. How did you feel going to the second leg?
We felt confident, but we knew that we weren't through, and that we'd have to defend well. And I have to tell you this, that the coach of AZ Alkmaar, who was a German, obviously with his team had said, we have nothing to lose. We just attacked this game. And they played 2 at the back against Mara in Brazil, and they threw everybody forward. And it was a whirlwind. I mean, they hit us with everything any football team could have. And We scored first as well from a corner. Ball came out to Tyson. He's chested it and volleyed it back in through a ruck of players. 4-0. We're now winning 4-0. I'm thinking about sitting back and, right, I'm going to enjoy this. Well, they scored and they scored and they scored, and we are on a knife edge. And they were unrelenting, and we could hardly get the ball. And every time we tried to get the ball forward, because they were only with 2 players at the back, one stepped up, and one of our front players, either Mariner or Brazil, was always offside. So our play was interrupted as well, you see. And it was a difficult night for us.
So was it relief or satisfaction at the end? Or
Well, they scored 4 goals. 4 goals, as you know, and we were... and we scored 1 at that time, so we were actually 4th. Let's get this right now. Yes, they scored 4 goals, and we were losing 4-1. But Johnny Walk, fortunately, got us another goal, so we actually lost the match 4-2. Okay, so we're actually 5-4 on aggregate. Now the cushion was, of course, that if they had scored again, it was 5-5. But because we had scored 2 goals away from home, we still would have got through. So there was a small cushion. But I have to say, AZ Alkmaar in the second leg played wonderful football, great attacking football. They had wonderful players. Jean Peters, Kiest, Hoverkamp, there's a midfield player called Ninegaard. Really a top-class team. But we stuck at it, got through eventually. Not easy in the second leg, but they couldn't beat us. 5-4 on aggregate with a cushion of 1 goal. So it was a wonderful end to a pretty marvellous season.
As you say, a marvellous season, a marvellous end. But how did you feel when Mick Mills finally lifted that trophy?
I felt good for myself. It was the end of a year of hard work. But for me, the pleasure was for everybody else. It was the pleasure for the players who had played such beautiful football over a long period, and for our supporters who, I think we'd thrilled, but they support us, and they understood it, and for the area to bring success at European level to a little market town like Ipswich, it's quite a feat. So those players, I think, will always go down in history.
Was that your sweetest moment in club football?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, winning the FA Cup was a treasure. The FA Cup is well, it's a great achievement, and it's a great exciting feat. But it's parochial. It's English. It's England. You knock out Peterborough or you knock out Coventry, or with respect, and they were good teams and so forth. Whoever you meet in the FA Cup, but we went to Saint Etienne, and we went into Prague. In fact, we went into a different country. All the 6 games, we played a different team from a different country. So we went into 6 different countries and knocked out 6 different European teams, and that, I think, was a feat. That doesn't often happen. And so it was great credit to the players. And I would have to say it was the best team that I ever put together. And when I left, I knew that I was leaving a team that would take many, many years to ever improve, or maybe to ever, get back to that quality again.